Me too. Hey man, it's what is it? 4th of July? It's 4th of July, man. It's Tuesday, 4th of July, 2023, man. I'm with my brother Rooster, man. He's fresh here in Jacksonville. We're gonna chop it up a little bit, talk a little bit about your ride, man. Talk about a little bit of what you went through, and this is just part 2, man. Y'all hang in, and we're gonna make y'all better motorcycle riders after this is done. So, hey, my brother, welcome to Jacksonville.
Thanks for having me.
How was everything?
It was good. It was a real good ride.
Awesome.
Had a little bit of rain, but other than that, it was smooth. Couldn't believe how smooth.
Man, he lying. It was hotter than the devil's underwear out there, man. But you did. I'm gonna tell you this. You were lucky. Well, I don't know how lucky he is because sometimes rain is a good thing. But just 2 weeks before your ride, everybody went through torrential rains. Rains like crazy everywhere.
On my phone, every time I would hit bid down, I was checking the radars to see I actually left El Paso a little later than I wanted to, and that got me out of rain, especially because I was doing most of my riding at night. I wanted to do that because of the heat and the humidity, and I just prefer riding at night compared to daytime. When you're going long distance, less people out on the road,
right.
Watching all your videos, watching people going across. They were talking about all the construction zones. I didn't have no issues with any of those. Matter of fact, I was chasing a storm for about 5 hours through Texas, so I was just getting the tail end of it. But I never even hit any of the big cities. San Antonio, I hit it earlier in the day, but I had no real bad traffic.
So interesting, your strategy, you decided, hey, sometime I'm gonna do a lot more night crawling. That's what we call it, night crawling.
Yeah.
Me, I can't see all that hot at night, so it's a little difficult for me, but that sounds like a pretty damn good strategy. So let me real quick, if you don't mind. So night crawling, going through Western Texas, any issues with gas stations or were you?
I was nervous about that, so I get about 200 miles with a full tank. You know, if I top it all the way to the top.
That's a V-twin?
Yeah.
And you get 200?
Well, I run on cruise control 6th gear, 80 miles an hour. I looked at it, the turtle wins the race.
Right.
When I'm in California, I haul ass everywhere I go.
Right.
But on a run like this, knowing that I still have to get all the way back home, I looked at it, I don't want to push the bike or have no issues.
Right.
And so I was getting about 200, but around 150, I would stop. I hit all the major trucks spots. That was the big thing for me. I knew they'd have restrooms, you know, everything would be open. I wouldn't have no issues. Sometimes I was filling up early, other times, you know, a little bit later, but that was my goal every 150 miles, somewhere around there to hit. Plus that was a good way for me to make sure I was getting extra drink, eating some jerky or some trail mix. Then I have a cup holder because I knew the end of my ride I'd be hitting the first part of the heat. So I wanted to keep hydrated. So while I was riding, I could still drink some water.
You know, I'm speaking of that when you said you were doing 150 tank a tank. That's something I suggest now, and that's something that I'm starting to talk more about to my I-10 riders. Where, you know, some of the Milwaukee aids, your bike, you know, people try to go tank to tank, so they're trying to do, you know, 200, 220 miles. Well, the longer you go in between gas stops, the less time that you get to continue to hydrate yourself. So I do think 150 is a very good thing. As a matter of fact, I'm hearing the last guys who actually just went through from Red Reef, they said they were doing every half tank during the summertime just to hydrate more.
If I was going during the daytime, I definitely would have took that plan. I heard some guys talking about it since I was doing most of my riding at night. And I chose to put a cup holder on my bike instead of a Camelback, just so when it was hot, I don't have that extra weight on me. But I would be able to drink a whole thing of water. Once it got hot, I put one in my vest so I could switch bottles out.
That's for sure.
You know, plus you need to move around.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can only position yourself so many times on that bike.
Mm-hmm.
So I would always walk around, use the restroom, needed to or not,
Mm-hmm.
just for more movement, get the circulation going again.
That's right. Because, you know, we ain't youngsters.
Yeah.
We're not youngsters. So preparing, okay, because I remember me and you talked out in AZ
Yeah.
back in, what, April. And I knew you were locked in, you were ready to go then. So from that point, how did you start preparing to deal with what you were going to have to deal with on that road?
For me, a big thing was getting physically ready.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't lose a whole lot of weight,
Mm-hmm.
probably about 10, 15 pounds. But 2.5 years ago, I got in an accident and broke my pelvis. So for me, it was more walking. I can't run no more or anything like that, but I just wanted to know physically I could. And for me, a lot of it was I'll go into Home Depot, something like that, and just walk every aisle.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'd take one of my dogs for a walk. That way, I knew physically I was in better shape.
Mm-hmm.
But then I start preparing mentally, watching your posts, listening to the other riders, what they went through. I hadn't experienced it, but it got me ready for what I might see or
Mm-hmm.
might come into. Talking to other riders
Mm-hmm.
who've done long runs, you know, this is the longest I've ever gone.
Well, let me ask you this, since you got me thinking now. Every time I do those posts, or every time I try to do something on that page where I bring somebody on video or whatever, is it effective? Is it?
For me, it was. I want knowledge.
Mhm.
So you're not going to do everything you hear everyone do because
True.
everyone has their own thing.
True.
But it's like life. You're going to take the bits and pieces that work
Right.
best for you. And you just watch the videos. A lot of times late at night I'll watch them.
Mhm.
But it just helped me prepare.
Mhm.
You know, listening to, especially for people who ran into some issues.
Mhm.
You know, some of you, oh man, I was going to do that, or I might have done that.
Mhm.
You know, even what tools to take with you.
Matter of fact, I think we did a video on that. I want to say about a month ago with K Solo the Ride. Yeah.
And I sat down with my Prez K9 and I kind of went over my tool list with
Right.
him, and then Man Cub, who used to be our road captain.
Yeah. Man, shout out to Man Cub. He riding everywhere, man.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Me and him, he keeps me motivated.
Mhm.
So for me, I talked to brothers in my chapter, you know, to get some ideas. Then I also reached out to K-Fob, who, him and his wife, they ride everywhere.
Right.
And so he's the one who brought up, when I told him I was thinking about riding at night, putting on riding lights on my bike.
Right,
Extra.
right.
And I'll tell you, shout out to him because that made a heck of a difference.
Yeah.
Just being able to ride at night,
Yeah.
see the road, you know, I was able to see about 1,500 feet out.
Yeah.
You know, it just makes you feel a little bit more comfortable,
Mhm.
you know, doing, especially like on day 3 of the ride when you're feeling fatigued, you're tired. But just getting ready mentally, because like you told me, you'll start thinking about stuff that you hadn't thought about.
For sure.
Man,
Yeah.
for me, it was great therapy.
Mhm.
But it's challenging. I don't care who you are. If you say it's easy, it ain't. It's just physically and mentally, it drains you, especially once that heat comes.
I love it, man. There's a philosophical thing to this whole coast to coast get out. It's not just riding for the sake of riding, but it's showing dedication. So, and matter of fact, real quick, if you don't mind, let's transition to this side, the Soul Brother side of it. You know, when it was first designed, and I came up with this wacky idea to create this patch. I saw us as Florida chapter. We were the first chapter in the South, I'm gonna be honest with you. So when I saw that, and then I saw all these chapters in the West Coast, and I thought to myself, how do we create something that's gonna inspire and motivate us to wanna connect? How do I connect Florida with the rest of Soul Brothers? So, you know, I come up with this crazy patch, matter of fact, in one of our club brothers' backyard, And people are like, Sarge, you crazy. You crazy. Well, you know, we know crazy
Works.
It works. So
look what it's turned
yeah,
into.
so I come up with this crazy concept, and I said, of course, now I've got to test it out. I got to do it. So I did it, and since then, next thing you know, shout out to LA because they're the biggest shit talkers on the planet. So LA get hold to it. You ain't finna outdo LA. No matter if your wheel is big, LA's wheel is bigger. If your motorcycle is fast, they motorcycle faster than yours. So LA jumps on it. Next thing you know, Fresno jumps on it. Now Merced jumps on it, and more people are starting to get involved with this thing. And to me, ultimately, that PAC stands for our dedication to one another as brothers. Now, granted, we do give it to civilians, and the beauty of it is that U stands for something. It stands for unity. And to me, unity in the motorcycle riding community is a great thing. But it does stand for dedication, brother. So for what you did, coming over here to do this, tells me everything about you.
I've been jealous of the brothers that you see at events with it, because to me it stands for something. But I've met civilians with it, and I may have not walked over and talked to them without seeing that. It's a dedication. Plus, I look at it, I've met you on certain occasions.
Right.
But I don't think I've really met too many other of the club brothers out here. This was a way for me to get out and meet and make bonds with my brothers. It would have been nice if I could have stopped at some other chapters on the way. It just, the way I was rolling in my time frame, I just